video of the work presently being done on Palmetto Point for the supposed golf course being constructed by PLH. This is some sort of well that was dug and curtains around it. In the distance you can see buttonwood mangroves which are growing in the sandy areas. This particular area, as we walk, was right at the last ridge, last sand dune where mining was taking place. Much as this area that we're approaching here was never mined for sand. Buttonwood mangrove. In between you can see some of the sedimentary grasses which populate these sandy areas. Another buttonwood mangrove tree. Now in the distance you can see the original sand dunes which have not been mined during the whole history of the sand mining in this area. About 10-11 feet up, that's a cedar tree sitting on top of one of the mangrove, one of these sand dunes. This is the natural vegetation that you'll find in this area. Candlewood, one of the torchwoods that have been here, white sage, sea grape. Original dune material. So it was really false what is being said, that the building of the golf course is supposed to be going on with the repair of damage from sand mining. So in the distance you see the top of one of the original sand dunes, and at the foot mangroves that have been taken out from those areas are piled up, as well as construction material from the Palmetto Hotel. Proceeding down from the top of one of the original dunes. In the distance you can see equipment, two machines which are used for taking down that final sand dune. This is material which are taken out and dumped in this area. These are buttonwood mangroves. This material is most likely posted here today or yesterday at the latest, but this is fresh material that was dumped here. We're now at the foot of one of the original sand dunes, and we're making our way up. This dune is about 10-15 feet high. So now you get a view into areas that are the remnants of the original vegetation here on Palmetto Point. In the distance you can see palmetto palm, candlewood, white cedar, torchwood. That's a box tree straight ahead of us, and next to the box tree is smaller with the lighter colored leaves. That's yellow sanders. Then we have the marby, that's used for making local drink. That's a marby tree. Another box tree. Going down to the foot of the dune. This is cocoa plum, clan cherry. In between there you can see a palmetto palm, which is used for making brooms, the Barbuda broom, as well as in the old days used to be used to make a particular type of fish pot that was used in the lagoon, the straw pot, and also to thatch the houses. Cedar tree, white sage. This white sage was used to actually bait the straw pots to attract snappers and pangrunt into those traps. So this is how the original Palmetto Point would have looked. So this area has never been interfered with in terms of sand mining, and these are the areas which were left specifically to provide protection in terms of the entire ecosystem that we have down here. In the distance you can see a stand of mangroves, that would be the buttonwood. Close up of the palmetto palm. Okay. And these areas are the last natural areas where this particular species of palm would grow in abundance. Now the edges of Palmetto Point, the southern section bordering the lagoon, as well as these western sections, they were deliberately left and protected as such because of the vital role they play in terms of habitats, ecosystem services that they provide. These are in danger of being lost to that particular development with PLH. The development will not benefit Barbuda in the long run because the ecosystem services that we are losing cannot be compensated for in terms of the monetary values the so-called investors hope to gain out of this project. So Barbuda will be losing far more. So the natural vegetation is what you're seeing. Notice the siliment tree and other shrubs you have growing in between the areas. It's a yellow sanders tree. This type of vegetation has never been interfered with, and that's the natural vegetation mix that you find in this area. So Palmetto Point, areas of the sand dunes that have not been mined or touched, protected as a category 2 protected area, Ramsar site. To move all this natural vegetation and replace it with a golf course, which is primarily grass, as well as private residences, that is the type of development which is not compatible to what the area was zoned for. It's an old cedar tree. Tops were damaged most likely by winds from Hurricane Irma, but the underlying vegetation has not been touched essentially. And these are the things which provide the buffer to the winds from any storm that keep such wind from Codrington and other areas of Barbuda. And that is why they are protected. These are the kind of ecosystem services that they offer to us as Barbudans. In the distance you can see one of the poles that they're using to demarcate their golf course development. So these areas are earmarked to be taken out completely, leveled, replaced with grass. Here's a road cutting through the last sand dune to provide access to what they're hoping to do. Now note well the stands of natural vegetation which have not been touched. These are huge cedar trees, siliment, and the understory of cocoa plum, palmetto palm, torchwood, candlewood, natural vegetation of the palmetto dune system.